What's going on in the Philadelphia real estate market? Good morning, everybody. This is Maria Quattrone from Maria Quattrone and Associates at Remax at Home. Welcome. So it's a great Friday morning. It is beautiful, beautiful day. And today I want to talk to you about what's going on in the market. So people ask me this all the time, especially right now, because there seems to be a bit of some people would say freeze. I would say maybe a pause in the marketplace. Um, Showings are down significantly, and we can tell that by our showing time app and service that we use. And this is in our region, which happens to be Washington, Baltimore, Philadelphia region. Our MLS covers that entire area. So, what does that mean? Is that good? Is that bad? Well, people would say that that's not good. It's not great if you're a seller. It means that, by the way, doesn't mean that homes aren't selling. It just means that the homes that are showing the most value are selling. So that means absolutely perfect turnkey condition. Not properties where that a regular home buyer is buying. So if there's tenants living in them, generally, they will struggle to sell because tenants never keep the house like a homeowner would. And so, unless it's an investor buying that property, which if it's in, the 700,000 range, an investor's not going to be buying that with a single family property with tenants. So those tend to be challenging properties, as well as properties that have not been recently updated. Well, the house is in great condition. Some houses, great condition, but kitchen hasn't been updated for 10, 15 years, maybe a little longer. Same thing for the baths. That's not turnkey condition. So those are two of more of the problematic types of properties that are on the market that won't sell as quickly, or maybe will get less showings. In some cases, some properties aren't getting any showings. And so what do we do about that? And some of the things that you can do is, one, it's a location that the property's in. So is it a good location, bad location, doesn't matter. It's the location. We can't pick it up and move it. Like ourselves, we could pick up and move anywhere, but we cannot pick up the house and move it. So that's one. Number two is the condition. What can you do with the condition? You can upgrade the condition. You can add value to that condition to get it sold for that number. Number three is the price. The price is the only last thing. So if you're on the market and you have no showings, it's a minimum of 5% adjustment. And let me tell you, because here's why. Because any buyer that's coming, and if they're not even coming to the property and there's no showings, it's a bigger issue than that. That means the market has completely rejected the price that's currently being advertised. And let me explain a little bit more about that, because as much as we as real estate brokers and sellers like to determine what the price is, we don't. I'm just a messenger. The market gets to determine what that is. And until you liquidate your property, it doesn't matter how much equity you think you have, until there's a liquidation happening, then the house isn't worth anything. It's not worth anything. It's only worth what it is at the time of liquidation and what a buyer is willing to pay. You have to think about that. It's up to the buyers in the marketplace. And the buyers in the marketplace today, some of them have exited because they can't afford to buy the house that they want to because the rates have went up. I mean, that's a given. There is a part of the buyer pool that have exited, and I'd say it's probably going to be around 25% or so. We saw in June. I just reviewed a couple days ago the statistics for June, and if I compare June 2022 to June 2021, new pending sales are down 22.3%. 22.3% year over year, We are down so far this year, and this happened in the last couple months, 10% in closed units. Based on where we are currently at, I expect July pendings will also be down, and closed units for the rest of the year will continue to decrease unless something drastically happens in the marketplace. With them trying to stave off inflation, and unfortunately, it seems to be that we are in a recession. Based on a lot of smarter people than me. I read a ton. I listen to a lot of really, really smart individuals. And, there's a lot of things that are happening. So I'll tell you the good news, though. Here's the good news about what's going on in the Philly real estate market. So if you're a buyer and you've been sitting on the sidelines and you can't afford the payment that you want, it's a great time. Because a lot of houses now, you can actually put an offer in and it doesn't have to be over asking price. So there's less competition in the market. So if you are a buyer who is looking to get in, it's now a great time, because when other people pull back and freeze, there's opportunity. Opportunity is all around us. Also, if you're an investor, and you are, a lot of people I know of, and I know a lot of clients are investors. Some haven't bought in 3 or 4 years. Now there's going to be an opportunity to pick up opportunities. We can listen, every single day somebody needs to buy and somebody needs to sell. Real estate, regardless of market conditions, will never stop. There will just be less buyers, and so the most motivated sellers are the one that will sell. And if I hear one more seller say, this is like classic, I have time. Really? So if the market decreases in 3 months from now, do you have time? Do you have a mortgage? You're paying a mortgage, and you're paying a mortgage, and you're paying a mortgage, and it goes not in the way that you want, the other direction, you don't have time. The worst thing that happens with properties is that they stay on the market too long. And properties are, by the way, going to be on the market longer. The day of selling in a day or in a week or in 30 days, unless it's perfect mint condition. And when I say that, I mean, on a scale from 1 to 10, it's a 10. So that could be completely brand new rehabs, or maybe a year old, or maybe brand new construction, priced right. Those are going to sell first. Or here's the second type of property that sells: a shell. A shell priced right. Something that needs complete rehab priced right. Because there is a market still for that, for investors to come in, add value to a property, either keep it and rent it or flip it. And that's still an opportunity. However, with that, I want to caution with that, you make your money on the buy. What does that mean? That means buy right. So buy right could be zoning, or buy right meaning buy the property at the right number. Because if we buy the property at the right number and we are going to, say, put a tenant in it, we can put the tenant in there and he will say, oh my God, there's all these buildings building and there's so much inventory and rentals coming. Okay, cool. It is what it is. We can't stop people from building buildings. Okay. But what you can control is what you can control. And that's you and the decisions that you make. So some of those decisions could be like, well, the standard rate in the market is $1,400, but I'm going to underwrite my deal, bringing in $1,200 a month on that particular unit in that multifamily building or in that single family rental. So if I underwrite the deal at a number that's well below what the market rate is, then what happens is it doesn't matter really what happens in the market, because my deal works. So that all becomes about buying right, buying the property right. So I'll repeat what I just said. 2 big opportunities. One, turnkey properties in mint condition, perfectly staged, meaning they don't have tenants in them. Okay, you can't control the tenants. You can't control all the crap they leave over their apartments. You can't do any of that. So they're not tenant occupied properties unless an investor can buy that property. Okay, that's one. Number two, properties that need complete rehab, or property that's maybe it has multifamily. Maybe it's 8 units. Maybe it's 8 units and it has, but the units haven't been turned over and renovated in 25 years. That's an opportunity, priced accordingly. Okay. So buyers will say, well, maybe I shouldn't buy now because an investor, the market's going to do this, do that. Here's the thing. If you have money and it's sitting in TD Bank, for example, and it's earning you nothing, if you're able to put that money to use into a property that you're going to take on long term and hold over a 10 years plus time, at least 5+ years, I would say 10 or ish, maybe if it's multifamily, depending on how much value you want to add to it to make up your money back. It's okay to buy right now. It's perfectly, this is actually an opportune time. It's an opportune time because there's less people out there looking. One, it's hot as heck in Philadelphia. So people are like, it's too cold, it's too hot, it's raining. I don't want to do anything. Craziness to me, but it is what it is. Two, when people start to freeze up and make no action and take no action is when we double, triple, quadruple down. This is when we take more action. This is when we write more offers. Okay, this is when we put as much out there as we can. So if you are an investor or you are a buyer, let's go and strike. Let's go find properties. We put an offer in yesterday. I think the ask is $599. It's an investment piece. We're offering $450. We think we can go up. We can probably get to around $5. The property's not selling at that number, $599. It's overpriced. So maybe that seller is motivated to take an offer of what a buyer is willing to pay today, because it's never selling at $599. But we're not afraid to put those offers in. Let's get a deal done. Let's get deals, many of them done. Okay. Something else right now. We have some sellers that were willing to do seller financing. Wait, seller financing. Okay. They put the terms and in regards to what that means, what the interest rate's going to be, how long the loan's going to be. In some cases, it might be enough to allow the person to do what they need to add value, to stabilize the property. And then they take out the investor and they put their own financing on it. Okay. So there are so many ways to put a deal together. What does this mean right now? This means that if you've not been able to get in the real estate game because there was too much competition, those people can get in now. I want to say the little guy, meaning not the hedge funds, not the REITs, but the regular person who has some money sitting there. You might have $100,000. I don't know. You might have a couple 100,000. Maybe you don't. Maybe you have great credit and you have people who want to invest with you. Okay. So there's a market. And I could tell you right now, there will be one. There is one. It's time to take action. And so there's always two sides of the coin. There's the side of, it's a seller's market. Things are crazy, crazy, crazy. I'm always not a fan of that. Actually, I'm not a fan of that marketplace, because what's happened is that things get over zealous. People bought, I would say probably maybe paid 10% more purely for aspirational purposes, meaning they were so emotionally involved and engaged in this process of just wanting it and not caring because the rates were 2.8% or 3%. They're like, I just got to get that house. I just got to get that house. It was this frenzy. Okay. So 10% of it is completely aspirational. And then the other part of it just jacked it up with the interest rates, allowed that to happen. Money was cheap. Money was so cheap, right? So money still make your money work for you, because if you don't take your money and invest, whether that's in buying a first time home, okay, or buying investment property, or for hold, or you're doing one for a flip, you got to strike now. There's so much opportunity, and it's coming, and we're ready. We're ready to work for you. Um, we've dug in even harder than ever, and my whole organization, we are on board. We're making 100 dials a day, 100 dials a day, 22 people, 100 dials a day. Actually, more than 22. I'm saying count some other folks, but 100 dials a day. You make 100 dials a day, you make 100 contacts. Right now, we're on 100 dials a day. So, as for the sellers in the marketplace, what I'm going to tell you is this. If there's no showings on your property, it's clearly indicative of what the market is speaking to you. And the market is speaking to you that they rejected the house based on location, price, and condition. Okay? Those are the facts: location, price, and condition. And if you have even other kinds of properties that are occupied by a tenant, and they're not vacant, you can't even show them in a minute, or in 5 hours, you have to wait 24 hours. They're problems. They take so much longer to sell. We're used to that, though. We've done multifamily and single family homes for rent that we sell them, but they definitely 100% take longer. It's a much longer process. Agents, when they schedule a showing, they usually scheduling it, I'd say overnight maybe, but a lot of people schedule the appointment the day of. And if they can't schedule the day of because it's 24 hours notice, you lost that buyer, and they're not coming back. They're not coming back because they are moving on to the next property. People's attention spans are very small today, and everybody wants everything right now. Look, Grubhub, I can have a Big Mac here if I eat those things. I could have it here probably in 20 minutes. It could be here, sitting right here. Not that I would eat that, but anyway, so what's going on in the marketplace? I'm going to bring this show to you every single week. I'm going to let you know what's going on. I can tell you that the last month has been extremely slow in regards to new pendings. We are getting a lot of new inventory in our repertoire. We are working on some pretty big commercial deals that we are getting under contracts. LOIs are going out on those. So there is activity in certain pockets and in certain areas. Okay, some neighborhoods are doing better. Some of the downtown market, really not as good as some of the other areas of Philadelphia County. The suburban market is still a little bit different because single family homes are still doing pretty well, but that's on the lower price, like 450, 500. The higher end of the suburban marketplace, you can look and see price adjustments, and a lot of them. And we didn't see price adjustments in most properties, and not in 2021 hardly, and not in 2020, unless you were downtown and you were in condos. They took a real beating in 2020 to mid 2021, but that marketplace, has come back a bit. But still, it's not for everybody. I mean, there's so many more things with the condos, with the condo laws, with, that big disaster that happened in Miami. It's a terrible, terrible situation with the building. So people do have, some fears around these things. Remember, folks, we don't live in a vacuum. There's things coming at us all day long. You hear about some other carjacking or crime or something like that happen. That 100% affects the value of real estate. In fact, this year, we've seen more people exit Philadelphia since 1975. Variety of reasons. People can live other places. They don't necessarily all want to be in bigger cities. They want more space. A lot of people moving out to like rural areas. These are just facts. And what's going on in the market. So I'm going to bring you the market intel every single week. Please, please, please reach out to me. You can reach me directly at 215-607-3535. Ian is the person who you'll get usually, or Dara on the phone, and we can have a conversation. Dara is a phenomenal broker. She's actually our broker of record, and she handles a lot of our commercial clients. We work side by side on our development stuff as well. So there's a lot to talk about. Happy to have a coffee conversation, a phone conversation. And I am dedicated, and I will be here every week to deliver you a message about what's happening. I think it's important that, I was doing a monthly market update, and all the agents in my company are now doing the monthly market update. It's pretty cool to see this happening. But I will be bringing this every week because I think it is more important today to get the weekly update of what's happening than waiting a month. Okay. So I appreciate y'all. I hope this information was valuable. If there's anything you need from me, you can DM me, you could drop something in the comments, or you can give us a call. And I wish everybody a fantastic and beautiful weekend. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and God bless.